Good afternoon, Babs. It's good to be together again, and hopefully this time we'll be stress-free and can relax and chat about blogging and about starting your own blog.
Yes, indeed. It's something we still get, people are still sort of doing whenever they have an idea. I've got somebody that's a wonderful young lady. She's gone to Lesbos to help out with the refugees over there, and she wants to send back some things. So I'm setting up a quick blog for her, so we know what's going on over there and get an insight into it. And then, I'm always getting ideas of things to blog about and having a blog site and things. So, I'm always at it. But then sometimes it kind of doesn't really happen. So I've tried not to just buy the domain, which is what I always do first.
I've been there, done that, and got the T-shirt. Yes, I think we both have on that one. Right, okay. We're being joined by people, so we best make a start. Right, okay. The first question is, who can start a blog?
Anybody. Goodness. Whoever wants to, whoever's got something to say or wants to say something, or it's anybody can. I set one up for my son, who a couple of years ago. He's a teenager. He's into geekery type things. He likes the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yep.
So he has a blog, which he's not doing much on at the moment because he's busy revising for his O-levels or GCSEs, I suppose we should call them. But he'll be back to his Formula Geek site in the summer. So that'll be great.
Good. Well, I have a blog, Angelica has a blog, and we couldn't live without them. It's the way of getting the word out, isn't it? It's your own turf.
It is, yes. It doesn't have to just be something you do for business. I mean, I've got a personal blog that I just, chat away on, and in different ones though, because I always think, I want to do something about being the mother of teenagers. But I could just use my personal blog for that. I don't need to set something up afresh.
All right. Okay, now choices when we get started blogging. Do we go with WordPress? Do we host WordPress on our own site? What's the best way of getting started?
Well, if you just want to dip your toe in the water and see if you want to bother doing it, then I would just go to wordpress.com and create an account there and set up a blog there. It's pretty straightforward. It's going to do most things that a lot of people will want to do. And it's only later on when you want to choose a style or not have any adverts on there, or if you want to use it for commercial purposes, for any kind of business, it's you shouldn't really use the WordPress.com site. Excuse me. Or if I think, you might have adverts on there which help pays for, what you're being provided with, which is fair enough, really. But it's pretty straightforward and pretty simple to get used to. So you just go to wordpress.com and get stuck in. Just give it a go and go for it. You can't break anything. So
true. I mean, it is getting stuck in, isn't it? It's first of all, there's a fear of blogging, isn't there?
Yes, indeed. Sorry.
Carry on.
No, I mean, it's something that we sort of can almost stop ourselves or hold ourselves back by not doing it, thinking it must all be word perfect, or the whole world is going to see it. They're not. Only when you tell somebody about it are people going to know that it's there. It's not all of a sudden going to be read by hundreds and hundreds of people. So actually, if you kind of keep that in mind, then it's it can be a bit less daunting. So really, just get stuck in and go for it. So you can always remove it. You can take it away. You can edit it. You can, if you find that it's not working for you, then don't worry about it. It's not.
So publish for yourself on something you enjoy. Because I mean, I go back to my first blogs, and I was writing rubbish, really. It didn't matter because I was doing it for me. I started off blogging for my reasons, and sort of blogs developed from diaries, didn't they?
Yes, indeed. That's what it stands for, a web log. That's where blog comes from. So it is basically, like you say, a diary. So, I mean, now we use it for all sorts of things, not just blogging, but websites and all sorts. But yes, indeed. I mean, hardly anybody reads my personal ones. So, I just write it because I enjoy writing, and you can have it totally private if you want, not even open to the public. So
that's true. You could just have a membership, couldn't you? Just so your friends can see it and nobody else.
You can, yeah. You could just have a family one where you can share thoughts between the family group and photographs and things like that. It's something that I keep meaning to set up for our family, because my family are all over the country.
Yeah.
And friends down in Cornwall and all sorts of things. So it would be great if I could get around to sharing some of the photos of the children when they were younger, because of course we don't get prints anymore to just send to people.
That's true. I mean, to keep the family history, to keep the family in contact, blogs would be a great way. And as we just say, you don't need to publish it. You can keep it private, and you can just invite people in. To read it, and invite people to post as well. So it doesn't have to be just your blog. It could be other members of your family.
It can.
Okay, so we've got blogging for personal. You can do that on WordPress.com. But if you're blogging for business, then you really should be looking to your own, shouldn't you?
You should really, yes, because you want to have full control over your content all the time. And indeed, it's something that to bear in mind if you're using WordPress.com as well, is it's on somebody else's platform. You're not paying for it.
Yeah.
If you want to have full control and have your words and your writing and everything within your total control, then you want to host it yourself. So you would need to set up a bit of hosting and install WordPress onto that.
Okay, and
which isn't. Yes, it's not that terrible a thing. It's really very simple, actually, much simpler than one might imagine. I know I've got a blog from quite a while back, a post on how to actually do that. I should review that, but it's not actually changed that much, to be honest. So it's still a very quick and simple procedure. Within 5 minutes, you can be up and live.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, you register the web domain, don't you? The name of your site.
Yep. You have to think about.
Yeah, go on.
Yes, you have to think about the name. What are you going to call it? What domain name do you want? So for us in the UK, for instance, that will cost about £6 per year to actually register a .co.uk domain name. Or .com is often a little bit more, but only about £10. Then you want some hosting from somewhere. There's all sorts out there. If you just look for hosting, best to ask people what they recommend, because that people, that who they're using can be reliable and things like that. So a recommendation is sensible. And you tell the domain that's where you're going to host it, and then on the host is where you install the WordPress and do all the writing. So it's I'm trying to think of the most simple way of putting that, but I always get a bit stuck on that. So,
but once you've done it, you can, once you've done the first one, then the second one is a lot easier.
Yes, you need the domain name first, really. And then you go to the hosting, and yes, you get your hosting, so you know where that is. Then you tell the domain, you have to sort of point the domain to your address. And that's where it is.
That's it, and Google will find you.
Well, only if you tell. Well, yes, you can actually ask Google not to find you.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Again, you can keep it private.
You can keep it private.
You can keep it private until you're ready to go public with it. Because if you are at the beginning, then you want sort of 3 or 4 blogs on there before you actually start pushing it, don't you? And people visiting your page for one blog is to get things going.
It depends. I mean, if it's just a personal thing, then just go for it and get stuck in, and don't overthink it, really. But yes, if you have a few, if it's a business, then it's probably a good idea to have a few there, so it looks like you've been a bit busy and it doesn't look totally shiny and new. But then shiny and new might work for you. You could have a big, this is our blog, this is what we're doing. So it really depends on the circumstances.
Yep.
So.
Indeed. But the thing is that you should sort of structure your blog, shouldn't you? You should have a title that sort of people can understand what you're talking about, and then you can lose them in the text if you have to. But the title of a blog's important, isn't it?
Do you mean the actual name of the blog?
Right.
So,
Okay, let's go with the name of the blog. I mean, John, who's with us, had a client, an example the other day of somebody who wanted to call his blog. What was it, John? Gravy? Is John still with us? He is. Yes. He posted in Prospect of the name of the blog.
Lumpy Gravy, wasn't it?
That's it, Lumpy Gravy, which
yes.
we all know was a Frank Zappa album back in the day. But obviously, I mean, if you want good business, you want to be found in search engines, then you don't want to pick a name which is already established, do you? Because
no, I mean the actual domain name, I wouldn't worry too much about that, to be honest. If you've got two sites that are exactly the same and one has got a domain name with the thing you want to be found on, your keywords, then you'd be slightly higher. But really, overall, it's the actual content that's going to make the big difference.
Yeah.
So trying to get a domain name with your keywords in is going to be nigh on impossible these days. Really, it's going to be so difficult. And again, that can kind of stop you. It can halt you while you try and think of the domain name. I'm talking from experience here. But with the name of your blog, you want to do some checks. You want to see if anybody else is using it for a start.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You need to do your research. You need to go on Google and have a good look around. Go onto Companies House and have a look to see if that name is registered by a limited company.
Yep, yeah, indeed.
Which I missed that recently. I'm taking my business up a level. Developing it into an agency, and came up with this wonderful name. I love the name, absolutely adore the name,
right.
And couldn't find it. Domain name. I got the .co.uk domain name. Did a Google search, nothing there, and somehow I didn't look in the Companies House register. There is a limited company with the exact name, so okay, that's not going to happen. I had to totally start again with that, and I'm so annoyed with myself because I didn't do the basics. So yes, have a good old search on Google for what you want to call your blog. See if a domain name is available, something that would make sense for it, and also go and have a look on the Companies House register as well to see if the name's there, because somebody might not like it down the line, and it's best to start from knowing that
yes. Right. Okay. So we've got the domain, we've installed WordPress, and we're ready to go and write our first blog, and we've got a blank sheet of paper in front of us, and panic sets in, procrastination starts, and the whole world is down our shoulders. It is there's no magic to it, is there? There's no recipe, but there are certain things you can do.
Well, yes, we're all different. We've all got different approaches and different procrastinations. I like mine to be absolutely thorough and complete, and I include videos and all this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, sometimes I think, will you just publish the darn thing? It's just... I did that the other day with on my Barbara Saul site. I thought, well, look, just push the button. I can always go back and add something later on, with a, saying I've added this or something like that. And I thought, just put it out there, because it wasn't something that I was using to attract business or anything like that. It was just an opinion. It was just a quick opinion piece, and that was it. So I just did it. I just got on with it.
Yeah, I think that's the best way sometimes, isn't it?
It is. You can sort of start off with an outline, and then pad it out. Make sure you include everything you want to include. Really, just do what works for you. Everybody is we are all so different, and there are for every type of there are dozens of approaches, and you have to find what works for you. So just get stuck in and get on with it. You can always take it down later or edit it, or
that's the beauty of it. You can edit anything, can't you? You can change the title, you can change the content, you can change the photos, you can change anything on the blog.
Yeah, or add the photos in later, or
that's right.
That can hold you up.
I mean, both you and I have written blogs in the past and thought, that's a darn good blog. It just needs bringing up to date. So you take an old blog and repurpose it.
Yes, indeed. I've got to do that on the blog, Mistress. I've got, because everything's been updated so much since then. So,
welcome everybody who's joined us. We're noting the comments that you're making, and I'll bring them in as we go along, and Barbara will too. We'll keep chatting for about another 10 minutes or so. Then we'll open up the seat, and you can ask questions live on air. That would be fantastic. If you've got a question at the moment, you can just type in /Q, followed by a question, bottom right-hand corner where it says send a message. Just type it in there, we'll see it, and we'll take each question in turn. Both Babs and I have been blogging for a number of years. We're not going to say how many, but we remember when a blog was only, it was text only. So that's how far we go back.
Indeed, yes. Adding an image was, you don't want to do that.
And for my sins, I run the blogging competitions on a site called Empire Cred with a team. I've been in that for 2 years. So I've both seen a wide range of blogs written and published, and all the different styles and everything. But we're going to come back to the elements that are in a blog. And one of the first crucial things of any blog, if you want to attract attention, is the title. Now, this is where some people come unstuck.
Yes.
Blog, I know somebody we both know. I'm not going to mention that, but blogs are written, but the title is the last thing that goes in there. Beautiful blogs, but the title is the last thing. It seems it's like we've been trying to actually the blog title has now got to fit on a tweet. Yeah, because we promote it. Yeah,
it depends on where you're promoting it. I mean, if you're going to promote it on Twitter, then yes, if that's going to be where you want to share it big time, then you've got to bear that in mind, bear the limitations in mind. If it's going to be Facebook, you've got a bit more to play with, or LinkedIn, or send it out yourself to the big wide world, and want other people to. But yes, you've got to make it easy for people to share. So, if you have a title that takes up 100 odd characters, it's not it's too difficult to retweet, isn't it? I give up half the time because
if you've got to edit
titles,
if you've got to edit a tweet, then you're less likely to retweet it. Simple as that, isn't it?
Yeah, we haven't got time for that. So it's not so bad if you're tweeting from Twitter, because you can just hit the retweet there and it retweets the whole thing, and you've got room to add your own thing. But if you use Hootsuite, which I use with the old version, you have to get in there and edit things that are too long, and we don't have time for that anymore.
So make titles succinct and make sure that the whole thing is going to fit 140 characters. In fact, some SEO systems will say that it shouldn't be more than 70 characters.
Well, I think you want to allow a bit of room for people to add their own comment, because I've seen some studies that say that if you say please retweet in full, you get more retweets than saying please RT. So
right, indeed, we have a question which we'll take live, relating to what I was talking about, and I shall move it across and I shall read it. Hopefully, it will move across. It has, yes. What do you think of nonsensical blog titles like Perforated Walrus? Do you think such titles are confusing? I will remember it, that's for sure.
Probably, yes, like we remembered Lumpy Gravy.
Lumpy Gravy, yeah.
And my Brazen Pollyanna. I don't know if that's memorable or not, but it sort of says what it is. I'm not so sure, because when I was thinking about the next stage of the business and the name for that. There are so many that are purple this and lime bananas and, you know, all sorts of weird and wonderful names. And I'm not so sure, to be honest. It depends on the style of the blog. If it's quite a light-hearted, you know, I would expect the perforated walnuts to be really, you know, not particularly serious. Although maybe it's a bit heavyweight. Oh, sorry. I don't know. It's it really does depend on what the blog's about. You know, what do you think?
I would be curious if I found out about a blog called. I'd go there once, definitely, but it would have to hook me. I'd be expecting something whimsical like you. I wouldn't expect a serious economic dissertation. I would, just so that we have a bit more background. It's okay. Can you give us a bit more on the background of that, as to why? Oh, right. Okay. John's saying that lumpy goat people have a good sense of humor. I think most people do have a good sense of humor, and once you get there, you will have a look around. But there's got to be, I think there's got to be something to hook you in.
You're more likely to go and read something called Lumpy Gravy than something that, you know, ABC Catering Company.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
You know, from that point of view, go for it. Good idea.
Yeah. As we said earlier, you can try it. You can change everything. You can change everything apart from your domain name.
Well, even that, you can change it if you want to. It costs you a certain, you know, it costs you another £5 or £5 or £6 for the year, and you have to move it. So, you know, and it's not that horrendous to do. So, you know, whatever people worry about the SEO practicalities of that, well, and all sorts of things like that. So it's not set in stone. No. You can change things if you want to.
Yeah, indeed. Right. Okay. Now CJ's with us, and welcome, CJ. And CJ's observation was one which we must touch on, and you said blogs have photographs in them. Where should the photographs come from? Is the question, isn't it? I mean, there are copyright problems, aren't there?
Absolutely. It's a very important issue, and something that I do want to write quite a bit about on a number of blogs, because like CJ says, you must not just go to Google Images, choose an image and use it, because that's a really bad idea, because somebody owns that image somewhere, and at some stage they might go looking to see who's using their images and start to charge you for it. If you have an old blog from 5-6 years ago even, and you've used images and you're not entirely sure where they came from, go and check, because they will still come after you. The big companies, what are they called? Getty is the primary one that do this. Is they run a search through the web for certain images that they now own or have the rights to or represent, and they'll come after you, and it's a pain in the rear end. It really is. They do not give up. I actually have a client at the moment, and we used an image in all good faith that was available, and thousands of people are still using it, and they will not let go. They're just keeping on and on and on. And I know that where we got the image, it was available. It was freely available, but because we hadn't written down the copyright information, then we're getting this hassle. So wherever you get your images from, you can use. Do you know what? It's probably simplest to just go to something like Fotolia or one of the image sites and spend £1 and buy one. Just do that. The other option, sorry, go on.
Sorry, go on. No.
Well, another thing that I have done is used PhotoPin, which actually goes through and finds free photographs for your blog that are available via Creative Commons, which means that people, are happy for you to use it. You just include the credit back to them, so that which is only fair. You credit the person that created the image. So, if you've got time to go through and do that, then do it. If you don't, just cough up and buy something.
Yeah.
Because you do get a very, a great photograph, a great image, and or take your own. Your own photographs.
Take your own. I mean, I enjoy doing that. They wouldn't win any prizes, but they are mine, and they're part of my experiences. And using our own photographs is a wonderful way. And we've just been advised of an even better way. If you're teaching students, then who are good at photography, then the young photographers will contribute, and that's wonderful. Yeah, I've had college students ask me if I'd like to include their photos, and they've always been thrilled when I do, which is brilliant. So it involves more people. Your blog is created by you, but you can involve as many people as you want, can't you?
Yeah, indeed. You can, you can have people guesting on there all the time, which is great. But yes, it's something that, for goodness sakes, please, please, please don't just pull something off of Google Images and use that. Because it's illegal basically. And you could end up falling flat on your face and ending up with a load of hassle. So it's just not worth it.
True. More and more people are including video in their blogs, and they can get that from YouTube, can't they, providing the rights are there.
Yes, indeed. You can embed a YouTube video on your site. Apparently the youngsters of today like watching videos rather than reading. I'm finding, so have to keep up with that. So yes, indeed, you can find a video and embed that. But it's and things are, things are changing all the time, where you can actually have a video within your tweet. Also, there are so many things now that basically whatever you want to do, chances are you can do it. So.
That's true. Even if people wanted to embed this video recording we're making now in their website, they can do so. Whatever you want, please do. Yes, that's a very, very good idea. So, we're not blubbing for Britain. We're blubbing about blogs, and we're doing pretty well. Thank you for everybody who's watching now. If you missed the beginning, you can catch it on replay at any time. If you have a question, /Q, bottom right-hand corner. And in about 5 minutes or so, if you want to come on camera and ask questions, then you're more than welcome to do so. Right, okay, so we've got our website, we've registered the domain, we've put WordPress on there, we've written our first blog, it's got photographs in it that we've paid for, and we're then ready to press that button and publish it. And as we said earlier, when you publish it, what happens? It's not to the whole world. Well, the whole world technically can see it, but the only person who knows about it is you.
Yes, you have to then tell people about it. You have to share it. So, you'll have included something on your blog that helps you do this. So you'll have some sharing buttons on there, of which there are thousands. And so, you want, so that you can actually send it out there on Twitter and on Facebook, and wherever makes sense, really, wherever you want it to be, depending on who you want to read it.
Yeah, because your blog's audience or potential audience is the people who are following you on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the sites. They are your audience when you actually start the blog, and you've got to make sure that they know about it. Now, that's probably a good topic for our next blab, is promoting your blog, because I have a little program that might fit in there. Indeed. But promoting it is important. If you want to get the word out there, you've really got to put some work in. Not after you've written the blog, you've got to put extra work in, haven't you?
You do. You need to tell people about it, but not in a read my blog way and just sending tweet after tweet out. You want to do it to sort of like open up a discussion and, follow people yourself who might be interested, because then they might well follow you back. I mean, that's a whole other thing to talk about. There's so many different aspects to it all, but
building your audience.
Whoever send it out to your audience, and if they like what they read, they will then pass it on and share it. So that's why you want your share buttons on there, to make it easy to do that. And commenting, hopefully, if you can get them to add a comment and join in with a discussion, if that's the kind of blog that it is, then you want to do that. But you might end up having discussions on Facebook about it, and share tweets on it, or even on G+ or what have you.
That's true. And in terms of knowing who's reading your blog, obviously comments. If anybody comments on your blog, they must have read it. And if anybody shares your blog, they've at least been on your page or retweeted you. But you now with Twitter, you can't see how many people have tweeted the blog, can you?
I'm not sure if you can actually see it in the Twitter analytics.
Right, okay.
There's some really quite powerful Twitter analytics. I haven't looked at it in too much detail, to be honest. I've just been watching to see what happens with Twitter, because I've been a bit busier of late, to sort of like test things out and see what happens, see what works. And you can get and I've sort of like followed this thing, and there's Twitter analytics. I thought, and there's all sorts of information there. I'm followed by mostly male between the age of 45 and 50 or something like that. It's
it gets the demographics.
I think how do they know?
I don't know. When we register our Twitter accounts, obviously we're giving too much information away.
Well, I don't remember giving my age. Anyway, never mind. I suppose we must have done, but
right.
I feel so old.
It's a separate topic, but given your email address, which is on your Twitter account, they can find out anything they want.
Pretty much. We need to just accept that that's how it is.
Yeah, such is the way. So promoting your blog is going to be our next topic. But if everyone wants to come in on this now and call in and ask questions about starting your blog, we've covered every aspect of getting going and publishing your first blog. And we'll continue this journey in weeks to come, and look at a different aspect each week. So if you'd like to come in and call in, then please do so. We'll wait a couple of minutes to see what everybody does.
I came across a really lovely plugin that I must play with. If your audience are on Twitter, then it actually just highlights in little pieces. And Mr. Durham Skywriter reminded me of this. And you can pick out, nice sentences that would tweet well on their own. And it actually comes up in a box, and whoever's visiting and reading your site can just click the button. I do apologize, Miss Durham Skywriter. You just hit the button. It makes it so easy. That's the thing to do, is make it as simple as you possibly can for people to share and share what you've written.
Indeed. So. Right. Okay. Well, whilst we're sort of on the starting up business, ghostwriters. What's your opinion? I've got mine.
I can't imagine using a ghostwriter because I would have thought you need to know quite a lot about what's being written, about the topic. If you can write really well and thoroughly on what's provided to you, based on, if say you run a business and you know that blogging's going to work, and you have somebody who can really get to grips and understand what you're about, and you can feed them some base information, then go for it and see if it works. Yes, like CJ says, it can work very effectively. You can quite often, you may well never know that you're reading a ghost written blog. If you've got somebody who writes really, really nicely, it can really make a business. It can make all the difference. So,
and points that have just been made. I think I agree. You need to do your own blog. You need to be a good writer, or you need to become a good writer. We've both seen people who started off blogging, and you you look at it and you think, well, I could do better myself. But if you watch people progress over the years, because they've had practice, because they've had feedback, then they become good writers. And a lot of people are now better writers than, well, being honest, better writers than I, and can just turn up a blog at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, they've just kept at it and kept going and learned so much along the way. By reading others, by just, finding their own flow and style. And, it's, if you can put yourself across well, then, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to write 1,000 words on something. Just sort of, people, this whole idea that, people buy from people or relate to people by writing in your own style, then, people can really, it's a great way for people to get to know you.
That's right. Keeping it authentic. And guest writing has been mentioned as well, because if you want to promote your own blog, you can actually guest post on other people's blogs, can't you?
Yes, indeed. There's a lot of that happens. And again, that can be a great experience, and it can be brilliant for the business. You want to make sure that it's relevant, as long as it's relevant to the main topic of the blog that you're guesting on. Then again, it can be, it just opens up a whole extra audience, doesn't it? So
and you can guest blog for as you said, somebody who well, you've got to know what you're talking about. That's the only proviso. When you write a blog, you must know something of what you're talking about, otherwise people aren't going to take you seriously. But once you've got a name on your own blog, then you can go and you can offer to guest blog on other people's websites, and you can go for people who are well established. We know that you can guest blog virtually anywhere, providing you just get the right contact.
Yes, indeed. I mean, over the years, I've seen people like Darren Rouse, who's that's a good site to go and have a good old read through, because he's been advising and helping people with blogging for years, and I've seen him when he must have been when he started out, I suppose, and now people, he has a lot of guest writers on his site, which must be really quite, give the people who were the guests, a good deal of kudos, really. So, and it does add to their authority. You sort of think, oh, well, they really must know what they're talking about.
It's true. It rubs off, and it gets your message out to more people. Now, just to wind this up on your blog, we were discussing yesterday in Prospect when Andrew Cook posted, and he posted about Facebook's upcoming launch of their blogging system. Let's call it that way. Where you can forward your blog. What do you think?
Well, do you know what? The things are going to change and evolve all the time. You can't rely on things staying the same, because they're really not going to. So if you rely on a specific point of what Twitter gives you or Facebook gives you, you cannot build your business on that. I mean, that was a very dangerous thing to do.
Yes, it's called instant.
Use it in tandem. Yes, thanks, John. Instant articles. It's kind of like what LinkedIn are doing, I suppose. I haven't looked at it in too much detail, to be honest, because I think, well, let's wait for it all to kind of calm down a bit and then have a look and see what's going on. Because there will be this huge furore saying, oh, things are changing. It might be a useful thing. It might be a good thing, but I think it was Sarah that pointed out that it's on somebody else's platform, and they can take it away if they want to. It can just disappear.
Sarah and Sandrine both said that, and I respect their opinions, and it is a point of view. But the way that it works is that, first of all, the article's got to exist somewhere else.
Oh, well. Then
so what you're actually doing, or what they're actually the way it works, and John will correct me if I get this totally wrong way around, is that it takes an RSS feed from your existing website, blog, whatever, and that's where it takes its information from. So what it's actually doing is posting your articles in their format on Facebook. Now, it means you'd have to do some work to make sure it's in the right format, but they take your RSS feed. Thank you, John. And so you've got your blog stays where it is. This is additional.
So what's the problem?
I don't know. We're talking about a 1.5 billion people potential audience on Facebook, and if you're established as a blogger, there you feed in your RSS feed. The article is originally on your site, and it appears on Facebook.
Will it dilute Facebook?
Well, the big thing is, will people read it?
Yeah.
But there are more chance of being seen on Facebook than there are on your own website. And I'm good. Yeah. Sorry.
It can be, yes, depending on your customers on Facebook. And yes, I mean, Facebook has got a big place in the whole thing. There are some people where you could just market the whole business on Facebook.
Yeah, but Peter, for example, Peter's does just that. But I think it's another avenue, isn't it? I mean, you've still got to have your blog. That's yours. Nobody can touch it, and you keep it running year after year. But there are all these other outlets. I mean, I repurpose some of my blogs on LinkedIn Pulse. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And sometimes I copy the whole blog, not on the same day, because that's counterproductive. But that's another place to go.
Indeed.
And Facebook could well add to that. So in April, we have that to look forward to. We don't know the exact mechanics. So some of what I've been saying is guesswork. If I'm wrong, I'll put my hand up. But potentially, it could be another outlet for your blogs without you having to do too much work.
It could, for some things where, if that's where a lot of your audience are, then it could be absolutely wonderful. It could be great.
Yeah, I can see one or two major differences. The first one that comes to mind is that when people visit your blog site and you follow the Twitter link to a particular blog, they can see the whole of your site. And the odds are that they will go on to read a second post, providing the second post is of interest. If you've got the right indexing and the tags in all the right places, then people will visit your blog site and they will read more than one post. Yeah.
Or hopefully do something that you really want them to do, which is buy something.
Yes, or sign up for a mailing list.
Yes.
This is
sign up so that they read the next ones. That's one of the main things you want people to do. So
yeah, you want to build a following, don't you? That's one of the main purposes of a blog site. Besides enjoying yourself and getting the word out there, you need to have a call to action somewhere on each page.
Yeah, right there. Not too many though. I think this was the post that I published in the end the other day. It's one that the tweet, I thought, oh, that looks really interesting. Just from a tweet, thought I shall go and look at that. And immediately I'm hit with sign up here. It was right across the top of the page, and I had to scroll down to actually see the content. And I thought, no. and then there was something else. There was another shouty bit, and I thought, do you know what? I'm not going to do this. And I went away. So I didn't even get to the content. So, which is a shame. And
there's some, I think Forbes is one site where you click on a Forbes link, you don't get to the page until you watch an advert. And there was another site I went on yesterday. I had to watch something for 20 seconds. There was no skip button. That puts people off. The more barriers you put up, the less people read.
Absolutely. Some people like Forbes and some of the big names. They can afford to do that because we're going to go on and read it. But on you and I, we shouldn't be doing that. We should. But then I do err on the side of a nice gentle little thing on the side, which isn't enough really. I should shout a bit more. But
occasionally, I think if you did that, you wouldn't do it on every page. You just,
just have it really clear on the sidebar and at the end of your post.
In neon lights.
No.
Okay. Sorry.
No flashing. No dancing rabbits around the outside of it. No.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Just make sure it stands out and it's inviting people, and that your content gives them reason to do that.
Yeah, if your
because
content's no good, then forget it. Don't bother, because nobody
right.
wants to read it.
So
Sorry.
you've okay. So you've practiced over the years. You're happy with your writing. You've got people visiting your website, reading your blogs, tweeting them out, putting them on Facebook everywhere, and you want to stay in contact with them. Now, we know from experience that you can, in fact, create a mailing list by getting people to sign up there and then. If you've excited them with your content, then you can persuade them to sign up and just get one email a month off you, which grows your audience. And if you have anything to sell, it's also a very good way of marketing too. But it's there are people who get it perfectly right, and people who sort of, they're all shades of websites, aren't
they? Yes. And hopefully the people are testing, and that's the thing, you can test out and see what works.
Yeah.
If you get, I mean, there's one site that I've subscribed to, and once a fortnight you just get a really informative. It's not just about their sites, it's about other sites that may be of interest as well. And it's not, content, it's just a link which tells me exactly what I'm going to get if I go there. There might be a few too many, because again, you have to bear in mind that we just don't have time. It needs to be really quick, really simple. And then at the bottom, you just, if you've got a particular offer or something you want to remind people about, you just include it there. And, people think, oh, yes,
Yeah.
good. But
at the very least,
a bit afraid to sign up for things, really.
Yeah, that's down to trust, isn't it? And time as well, as you said earlier. You've got to have the time to involve. But if you can persuade people by dint of your content and the layout of your site, again, that's probably another blab we should do, how to actually get the layout right. Then there is potential to actually involve people and get them into your mailing list and keep in contact with them. Because there are a host of things you can do once you've made that initial contact and you've got an email address. You can do it slowly, at their pace, rather than trying to push them into doing something that you want. You can say, right, okay, this is the path that you could take. One's a gentle path, one is by me, and the middle one is the one they're more likely to take, which is you stay involved.
It's so tricky to get right, though, isn't it? That's the thing. Some people think, no, look, can we just get on with this? I want to buy something from you. And, they can make that difficult. And you think, no, look, I don't want to work my way through 9 days of tips. I'd like to, can you just give that all to me and give me the sell now?
Right.
Oh, it's so pleasing. Some people, is there really?
No. We're all different. That's the beauty of it. And
the beauty, and also the trouble with it. There's so many choices now. There's so many different ways that it's you do just need to focus on the audience you want and please them. Right.
Well, can we say in our next blab we'll talk about getting your audience together and how to go about it. It can be done. Anybody can do it. There's no magic involved. There's no money involved. There's just your time. So our next blab will be about building an audience for your blog, and Babs and I will arrange a date for that. Shall we? Not now. We can do it. We can do it afterwards. But thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. It was lovely to see you all here, I must say.
Yeah, lots of people. And Joe and CJ and John and Durham Skywriter as well. In fact, everybody has joined in. We could name you all.
Pat, lovely to meet you, Pat.
Yeah, it's brilliant to have got together. We'll try and do it at the same time, so that because we know you're going to be around, so we should arrange it for one Thursday at 2:00. But it has been a real pleasure. We enjoy what we do. We enjoy blogging. It's getting our thoughts out into the world, and all it takes is time and persistence and practice.
yeah, keep at it. Don't worry about it. It's just put it out there and see what happens.
Indeed.
I love blog. I could blog all day. I could do nothing but blogging if I had the chance. I just love writing.
I sometimes had to, especially when the Empire Cred blogging competition is on, because all the blogs get reblogged. But yeah, I really enjoy it. And now we're going to go off air, so we're staying online, but the